Marshmallow.
Caesar's Palace with the $5. Bird Finder 100 at DJ Ham. He's speaking too much facts, but I'm willing to bet that the lady stopped listening a long time ago. I had to put your message up here, Bird. Real shit. No cupcakes on with the $2. Roe cannot see the forest through the trees is simple. True Impact with the $10. Miss Nay, please tell how you, a woman, lost custody of a child for even a moment. What did the father have on you?
I want to answer that.
All right. Big Bad Bull just became a member.
Shit like that.
Fatty was popping. Member for
Shit like that.
John the Baptist for the $5. It's about kids for father, but for women in courts, it's about child support and alimony. Good God Almighty. John Henry with the $2. He did the same shit. It's always Jerome's fault. Nay. Damn. Man.
Yes. He said, damn, Nay. No, I like that question. Long story short, the one in New York, I didn't file that one because I placed the father on record. Automatically, that forced the court proceeding. So that's why that one went there. When I came to Connecticut, I came here for a man, and I brought my oldest son. When I came here, I ended up getting to a lot of domestic altercations with my son's father, and a lot of times it resulted in him being arrested and him being forced out the home that we were living in. By the time that ended up happening, I think the last time, because that happened and I was hospitalized because of it, I dropped the charges. I always say I regret that, but me dropping the charges is what ended up happening. So because I dropped it, he was removed from the home multiple times. It was like, yeah, you're not going to keep having me be removed from the home. Ultimately, I feel like that was like his way of like getting back at me, because when I did accept him back, then it was like we were going through the motions all the time. So I personally think that was like a way for him to get back at me. It was because now I'm like, I didn't really force that part either. I didn't press the charges on that. I dropped them. So all of that led to me being homeless, and it led to us going back and forth in court.
So they gave your kid to a domestic abuser?
Yeah, they ended up doing that because no, I did not. The fact that I was homeless. So I was homeless first. I did not have
why did you say I was homeless?
I did say that. I said I was homeless. I ended up being homeless because of the home that we were in. Can you hold on a minute? The home that we were in, I ended up having to leave that home because it was not his. He got forced out of the home. The home went to foreclosure. I left the home. By me having to leave the home, that ended up resulting in me looking like I have no income to provide. So he took that and said, all right, I'm going to run with that. And he took me to court.
So CPS didn't get involved.
They
when
did.
You were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And this abuser, this is a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Went through something similar on a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And these two people lost their children, and there was no domestic. There wasn't nobody hit. Wasn't nobody kicked out of no house. Wasn't nobody evicted. The parents lied on my cousin, and CPS came to his house and took their children away and said that he could not stay there. This astonishes me to hear that just because you lost your domicile, the children were not placed into protective custody. They were given to an abuser.
So let me tell you, my youngest son, he ended up shipping him overseas. So my son lived in a whole nother country, and I had no access to him.
Hey.
Okay, that too is something we can discuss.
And I have my oldest
outside
son.
of.
So I have full custody of my oldest son. My youngest son went overseas. He left the country with my son. And he went overseas with him.
I noticed when you initially said that you dropped the charge and you regret that. You think that
I regret that I dropped the charges.
You're saying that so he abused you, but because you dropped the charges, it wasn't like a record of it. He still has an arrest record of some sort.
It's an arrest record, but they call it a nollie. So you have to go through these.
So he's not.
Yeah,
he's not.
They nollie.
Technically, he's innocent. Yeah. So I guess he's saying they wouldn't have used that against the man because the charges were dropped. So he was innocent of it.
It was dropped. I was in the hospital, broken arm and whatever. And I was like, yeah, no, don't do it. The dumbest decision I could have made. But because I did that, I looked at it like my son is going to hate me because I made his daddy be arrested.
Can I ask
I'm
you something
surprised
real
that
quick?
yeah, Fatty, you could definitely get in. I'm just surprised that the state didn't pick up that case. That's
Bruh,
what's not
Mm-mm.
making sense to me. 'Cause
Nope.
they
that don't
picked up,
make
especially in
no
Connecticut. I
sense to
know.
me at all.
The thing is,
No, we had DCF involved. We
It's
did.
a
No,
it's
I'm
a
talking about to pick up the
it's a
case of being you in the hospital with a broken arm. That part is
customarily
what's throwing
name.
me off.
Here's what looks bad for your
Here's
story,
the
Nay. I'll say this, I'll shut up. Here's
thing.
what looks bad for your story.
You say something?
Every other story that every man I've ever heard of discuss
Mm-hmm.
that they've got just the woman's side of it. When
Mhm.
they get the other side, there's a gang of pieces missing. I'm saying your story is complete and that you are not leaving anything out. There are no lies by omission. You've given us the whole story. Your problem is the track record of other ladies right now. That's
Yeah.
why we're looking a bit confused.
so Nay,
Yeah.
I'm not going
Mhm.
to I'm not going to over pursue, but I'm going to pick up your story to make a point about whatever I saw in the last 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, you guys have tremendous empathy for your abusers, right? You literally took charges of a man that put you in the hospital. But
Mm-hmm.
these men were telling stories about men that went to the court to fight for their kids, that didn't give up and all that.
Wow.
And all I saw on the panel was, you should have chose better. You should
Wow.
fight better. You should stay. Why the fuck do you have so much empathy for a piece of shit man? And then when good men come on the panel,
Woo.
and tell stories about how they fought for their kids, everybody's sensitive. Everybody's saying, oh, it is what it is. You should have known better. This is a
Oh,
this is
I will
a-
tell you, I chose wrong.
Wow.
I would never.
Wow.
I would never.
Not what he asked.
it's not
Not
your
what he
situation.
asked.
It's about the good man. Mr. Uncle Jeff said, I will give you the abusers. I will give you the bad men. I will tell you.
Oh.
it's fine. We have
You
bad
made
men.
Ro run off.
I will
Fatty. You
give
were
you-
cooking. She ran off. Goddamn.
I will
Bruh.
give you the abusers. I will give you the bad men among us. Can you please tell that there's some woman that do men dirty? What did she do? What did he do to run her off? What the fuck is this? You guys are crazy? Like, what the hell is happening? Good men don't deserve sympathy and empathy.
None.
These dogs,
That
kids,
lady
and
said.
bad men.
was an
This
individual.
4th century shit
No,
has
no, no,
done
no,
a
no.
job.
Let me just say this because this is what actually worried me. You were 2 or 3 women on the panel co-signing the what did he do wrong, and all the other women were quiet. They didn't say, come on, sis. Jesus Christ, man. The man is fighting for the kid. Why are you keep saying, oh, look at her smiling. She's smiling and rubbing her thing. Like, why women have this situation where they never open their mouth to call out women that are shown for a fact that they are pieces of shit?
Let's see.
Okay, so Freddie, you didn't get the opportunity because Uncle Jeff, and since we're going back and forth, but I dropped some stats in regards to the fatherhood initiative that I'm aware of, and I know that there are good fathers out there, and there are men fighting for their families. So I didn't get a chance to put that
Tay
out.
put in the back
Go
chat.
ahead, separate
There's a
yourself
growing.
from sisterhood, Tay.
That's
She said-
Tay. That's
Hold
not
on.
what he said.
But this is what Tay, because Fatty was like, why the hell nobody didn't talk when Sis was spewing out was deemably bullshit. Tay was just saying she didn't get a chance to jump in. She did, however, put in the back chat, there's a growing body of evidence demonstrating the effectiveness of responsible father programs. Much of the prior research has focused exclusively on parent training in a number of randomized and quasi-experimental studies that have been done to compare the outcomes of parent training programs to control groups. And then she has her sources here. But Tay, I guess we're wondering, they can't read the private chat.
Yeah, no, and that's why I wanted to jump in, because I know for sure that I've seen a real life example of a man fighting for his child, and I saw him win. You know what I mean? So I get to Uncle Jeff's point, like, yes, there are good men out there. Yes, there are good fathers. Yes, there are men fighting for their families. But again, I don't believe that in large numbers that men, it's of course the women are getting the children more so the custody wise, because I feel like they think they're entitled to it. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm not a mother. Shout out to True Impact for the $10 super chat with a broken home with a broken family. The state comes in. Fatty, you listen well. Miss Nay said she sided with the men because the same thing happened to her. She actually did not fight for her child. She fought for an abuser instead.
Lies. So I'm explaining that part. That part is not true.
Let Tay read this one, and then you can reply to that. But
Go ahead.
hey, this shit. I mean, Nate, this shit getting sticky.
No, it's all right. I'm not offended.
All right, no, you gonna get it. Shout out to John Loaded Locks Henry for the $2. Fatty cooking with fresh grease.
Okay. Hey, you want to respond to this?
Yeah. So he said I didn't fight for my child. So what I did was I dropped the charges because of the abuse part out of fear. Now, I had my child the entire time because he was removed from the home. So I had both of my children. The moment he realized he's removed from the home, he came out and was like, yeah, I'm now going to fight for the full custody. Now, he did this while he's in a whole nother country with my son. Once he did that, it was like, nah, I got to fight. We were both fighting, no attorneys. Then out of nowhere, he ends up getting an attorney. Why? Because I had to be the housewife. And I say that loosely because I wasn't married, but I had to stay home. So I was not allowed to go out and work and make money of my own like that. So where was my money coming from? He was able to go get an attorney because he was the one that was working. He could afford it. In Connecticut, whoever has the attorney, I'm pretty much, I would say anywhere you are, but I'll just say for Connecticut, if you have an attorney, usually you are considered the person that is right, regardless if you are not. So because he had the attorney, he was able to fight and spend an exuberant amount of money, and I was fighting by myself. I did not have a pro bono attorney, didn't have that, didn't have the advocates, none of that. I was not allowed to get it. Okay. I did not even qualify for certain programs. So because of that, I went through, I want to say 4 or 5 years of fighting for my child while being homeless and then getting into housing. I did all of that, and I continue to fight. I was fighting up until like 2021.
Sis, I need the sisters here to hear the lack of compassion in the following sentence. Well, you should have chose better.
You're right. I said that in my book. I should have chose better.
Sis, I think you're missing my point.
Of
course, that is so easy to say, but it lacks compassion for your situation after you have just poured out what on face value we believe to be a truthful situation with you and your child. What kind of fucked up shit is it to look all that in the face and go, you know what?
Well, give him a chance. Give the lady the chance real quick. Do y'all want to follow up? Do y'all want to say something? Like,
yeah,
we all having a conversation.
It's who he chose. He got a bitter bitch that drug him through the court system.
No. God dragged it the same way, whether you spell it or say it.
With Nay, sis.
Same thing.
I got a question for Nate.
Wait, hold on.
Give me a second, Mike.
Because oftentimes they get drowned out and they just fucking sit here. So, does anybody got a follow-up question for Nate?
I do. It's not funny.
I know y'all do.
It's
I do
for
too.
the women, y'all. Dang. So no, there's no follow-up question because she said, "Yeah, I did pick wrong." Yeah, there's nothing else you can say to that. I know I picked wrong. I need to do better.
No,
I say it all the time too. Be careful who you have kids with. I said it to him earlier today because I got regret. I mean, be careful who you have kids with. There's things I had to go through, and if I'd have chose better, I wouldn't have to go through what I went through when I was raising my son. Plain that the truth is the truth.
So,
and that's what I gotta say about it.
You don't have anything. What about Tay?
Yeah, I was wondering when you said he took your son to another country, did you like follow him? I know.
No. So my kids were young at the time. My son was in another country like 3 or 4 times from like 8 months until he was like 5 when he returned.
So it was like a back and forth situation.
He would go just to visit because his family, he's Dominican. So his family lives in DR. So he would go back and forth. And it's like, oh, okay, they're going. I didn't have a passport. And I also had a small child. So he would continue to go until one time he kept saying, oh, he needs to go because I'm not working and you're not working. We need to save the home. And I was like, I don't think he should go.
He beat that ass?
No, we was having it happen all the time. He was like, I think we got to go. So I was like, I don't want him to go. It got to a point where we had he went overseas with his grandparents and he was supposed to return. And then a week later, we had an altercation that resulted in cops coming and ambulance coming, and I'm in hospital.
So question. So, question.
And there you go.
You said you weren't working. Is that because he asked you to, or is it like was it
because I was the one that had to stay home with my kids because they were small. They were like small, so he was like, "No, we're not paying for that." So it was either they had to stay with his sister or I had to watch it.
So he made.
You're not saying overseas. You saying like the Caribbean or something.
I'm saying Dominican Republic.
Oh, that ain't overseas. I'm thinking you going across the Atlantic.
Yeah, I did think like Taiwan or.
Yeah. So Fatty got a follow. You got a follow-up question?
Yeah.
It's not a follow-up question. I want to bring it back. I don't want to take the personal thing out of there, right?
All right. Well, let's do this.
I ain't mad about it, but go ahead.
No, it's empathy, not.
But Fatty, for once, she answering. You know what I'm saying?
No, because I said
I'm cherishing this moment because at least Nay standing there and she answering and she ain't running from this shit. So
yeah, because she can't. It's personalized, right? But on the group, and Amp, I'm sorry, the question is that I ask, why do you women have sympathy for pieces of shit, but you have no empathy for good men? Why is the guy that goes to jail always has a woman online next on Sunday to take care of him and all that, while the trucker is always cheated on, while the military guy is always cheated on? Why do women have this predisposition to take care of the piece of shit guy, to cover for him, to not call the cops, to take charges, while actually the trucker that is a hard worker never ever gets to keep his woman or to be faithful in that relationship because women are always wandering around and don't take care of that? That's my question. Why?
Dana?
I don't have an answer for that, Betty, because I can't relate. I'm sorry, I was talking.
Yeah, I can't relate.
Are you done, Dana?
I don't.
You made it too broad.
Sorry, Dana. No, I don't believe that's true, though, Fatty. I disagree with that. All women collectively think that.
I didn't say all women.
But it's okay. I mean,
women.
You're entitled to your opinion, but I know specifically me, I don't feel that way.
It's most women, Tay?
Can I re-answer? Can I re-ask Fatty's question?
Most women here.
Well, let me see what Tay's answer is. Tay, is it most women? He's most women
that have empathy and that like, or that
don't
have. Empathy.
So you know how when I'm up here, I usually say you guys like toxic men.
Yeah, and
you think that's most women?
And they prove it. They always said that should just shows better. So they prove it by their track record. They prove it. And my question is, since you guys choose toxic people, because even Love was saying, if I knew better, why do you have empathy, love, and care for these toxic men, while the good man never gets empathy to the point where somebody's saying, I went to court and this and this. You should have known better. Why do you have empathy for bad men and not for good men?
Yeah, why